Anything you want.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lunch with Leaders. We cordially invite you to visit our website, lwvision.org, and see if our organization meets your needs. The fact that you're there says you're taking a sample of our program. We offer the opportunity to look at issues from all points of view, and we challenge you to make up your own mind. That having been said, I thank you for being interested in our Legislative HotWash. And HotWash, if I understand it correctly from dictionary and Wikipedia, is not a misspelling of hogwash, as many people try to correct it to be, but it is the strategy session that takes place after an event, military action or whatever, to determine what went right, what went wrong, and to strategize for the future. Did I get that right? Okay. That having been said, welcome to the HotWash. I've asked our guest presenters to spend about a third of the time on the past, such as the special session, and to spend 2/3 of the time on what our needs and expectations are from the regular session. And as now, the only person who may not recognize this, Kenny, at the end of the first half an hour, in case my computer crashed, so I wasn't able to tell Kenny the rules of the road, we will take questions from the audience for individuals or for the entire board. That is your preference, just specify it. But raise your hand if you have a question after the presentations. All right. Our first speaker, we have to somewhat go with a generalist, would be Jeremy Alford, who is the political analyst par excellence. Jeremy.
So when the special session ended last week, I couldn't help but think of our old friend John McGinnis, who was fond of saying that the legislature could have done less when they ran out of time. That doesn't apply to Kenny or Regina. They're excluded. Are there any other lawmakers? Then it's just Kenny and Regina that's excluded from that comment. It's been an extremely tough year already. It's hard to believe it's even been 3 months. We went from a historic election for speaker, where for the first time in modern history, the governor did not select the speaker. The House has an independent committee structure that's stacked with conservatives on practically every committee. It was a contentious election for speaker. A lot of folks walked away from it with bad blood, and that transferred right over into the special session, which was just a nonstop 3.5-week attempt at policymaking and passing taxes, where, again, that ended with some very bad blood between the House and the Senate as well. The politics are just something to behold this year, especially compared to recent years, and it's really spilling over into the policymaking. But it's really, I think we need to look at what the legislature did not do as opposed to what they did do, and you're going to probably hear some of that from these folks. But what they did not do is pass any structural tax reforms or structural budget changes. However, both the House and Senate got together and created a special task force. And I know over the years we've heard a lot about these task forces. They come in and make these recommendations, they go nowhere. But there's hope with the Speaker and the Senate President involved that this committee is going to come up with some structural ideas and recommendations that would come up in the 2017 session. They did not completely bury the shortfalls for the current fiscal year and the next fiscal year. And so they go into this regular session without the ability to raise revenue or raise taxes, but just to pass a budget that's going to have $750 million in spending reductions in it. And that's just going to build pressure leading up until probably early to mid-June, where another special session is going to be called. And I know for everyone who's working around the legislative process, it's already been a long 3 months. When I had to explain to my wife there's going to be another special session, her eyes rolled so hard I thought they were out the back of her head. I was kind of hoping Kenny would come over and explain why we're going to have to be up there a little longer. But it's all going to build up to that special session if one is indeed needed. And I think that lawmakers, there are going to be a lot of people come to the Capitol when they see what the budget looks like with these reductions. And it's going to really build up the pressure in that building, especially on issues like TOPS and healthcare services. I think we're going to see a large number of people of getting engaged and becoming involved in the legislative process, which is probably a good thing at the end of the day. But right now, I think where we're at the beginning of the year, it's all about the budget, it's all about taxes, and it's all about the internal politics between the House and Senate and Governor John Miller.
Thank you, Jeremy. I have one oversight. Sir, would you stand up and show the timer to all of the audience also? Okay. Stuart is secretary and the official timekeeper for our panelists. And we finally got a timer we're very proud of. We just got this, that there's no question they can see it. And trust me, I don't let candidates, even if they were presidential, go over like we've seen sort of televised purpose. But those who have been with us for a while know that. All right, our next speaker, let's go with Senator Regina Barrow.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for this opportunity. So where do we start? Before session started, we heard that we had a budget deficit of about $750 million. As soon as we came in, it grew to $800+ million. And before we left, it was $956 million, almost $1 billion. So it kept moving. And that was one of the problems that I believe that we really had, because we came in with an anticipated amount that we thought we would have been able to solve. And had it been $750 million, I'm here to say that we would have solved it. Because I think we came very close. When we left the Capitol, we were told that we were somewhere between $30 to $50 million short, because there is a lawsuit that is pending that they thought had an agreement on, that the business industry would actually drop and an additional $20 million would come into the coffers. Well, that didn't happen. So then this morning, I hear that it's gone from 50 million now to 70 million. So that's one of the challenges that certainly we have had as legislators as it relates to filling this budget deficit, because the ball keeps moving. And the ball keeps moving because the administrations keep finding things that were not accounted for that they have to come in and fix. Which I have to say, when our previous governor took office, we had $1 billion surplus. And now we found ourselves at a $3 billion deficit. And so now we're trying to see how we're going to fill this budget deficit. My only question and concern is where we are in terms of the bodies. Certainly, I am hoping that we do not come down to the partisan politics that operate in Washington, D.C. We have not operated in that candor before, but I see a little bit more of that kind of happening, and I'm hoping that we kind of get back on the right path where we don't do that, because at the end of the day, when we carry on to that faction, then the individuals who lose are the people that have voted us into office, and we can't afford to do that. So I'm like you, Jeremy. When I heard that we were looking at coming back in this fiscal year, because I knew that there was a looming another special session, and so I was told that it would be next year before the next regular session. And so now it appears that we'll be coming back in June. I just say, I think we could have accomplished what needed to be done in the last special session. But there was just a gridlock between the two chambers, between the Senate and the House, in terms of how we would get there. And so now we find ourselves having to go back and probably do what we could have done before. And so I'm asking everyone to please stay engaged and involved. Please stay in contact with your legislators to let them know where you stand on the issues. The 1 cent sale tax was definitely a term of contingency. There was a position from the House, and especially the members of the Black Caucus, we were not looking to go more or go higher on the 1 cent sale tax. It seemed like, I believe that the House side wanted to do more. I don't know if that would actually come back on the table, but I believe that it's definitely one of the most aggressive forms of taxation, and it's something that we're really not in favor of. One of the things that Mr. Alfred talked about was the structural changes. That's going to be the real hard ball. I mean, we talk about it, but are we really willing to take it on? Personal income tax, really didn't address it. Property taxes, all of these things which structurally needs to be corrected are some of the things that we need to talk about. Going back to our Constitution, I hear that there's actually a piece of legislation action to address at this session. Or are we going to vote for it, where we take higher education and healthcare off the chopping block every time? These are the things that we're calling for. And again, I actually stay involved and engaged, and to let your legislator know where you stand and what you would like to see done. Because at the end of the day, these are the things that we really need to change that I have to say I don't know if the political will is there.
Thank you, Mr. The political will, I might add, really,
Speak up, because there's no microphone.
I do or do not have a microphone.
No, you don't.
Okay, no one's ever given me all I was just adding to, because I reinforce this every time, it's not just a political will. We establish, we the people establish the political will. So be loud, be heard, make your calls, write your letters, send your emails. Okay, our next speaker will be Ken Howard, who is the brand new legislator from St. Francisville, and he has been appointed chairman of the transportation.
Thank y'all. First, thank you for inviting me to come out today. It's my first time being here. I've been serving in the House now for about 4 years. I'm going to my second term. First time here, for sure. I really appreciate the invite. But Gina touched a little bit about Washington style politics and the secret its way into Baton Rouge. That's probably the last thing we want to see here in Baton Rouge, in my opinion. I'm a Republican. I've been a Republican since I was 18 years old, but I'm more middle of the road Republican. I don't vote down party lines. I think most of my colleagues probably can tell you that. It's very important to me that we work across party lines, reach out and do what's best for Louisiana. The last this past special session, I think you're probably better off when we're not there. We were there and we had to do the work, the people's work, and I don't think we completed it like we should have. There was we drug our feet. There was some contentious moments between the Senate and the House where they were holding up some bills to see what we were going to do on our side, on the House side. Our leadership decided to hold up some bills, and it crushed everything down to the last second. Last 2 or 3 minutes of the session, we passed $800 billion or $1 billion in taxes, which was kind of ludicrous. We could have probably passed that 1 cent penny sales tax a week or so before, and then backed our way into cleaning pennies and cleaning up exemptions and get that mark that we needed. That's how I would have done it, but I just get to sit back and vote these days. So, but it's those are the things that I would have looked at. Those are probably the approach that I would have taken would be couldn't increase the 1 cent sales tax by any more than what it was. Just the will of the House was not there. We would get feedback from all of our constituents, whether they're business or even individuals. We passed the cigarette tax, alcohol tax, and we hit business pretty good on their taxes as well. So there was we did lay everything out and kind of went across the board. We tried to get into some income tax adjustments, but the numbers that we were seeing on the income tax adjustment, we were between $40,000 and like $80,000 range. Their income tax bracket was going to go up by about 17%. So that just most of the I know most of the Republican Party, I think some in the Democrat Party either just couldn't stomach that, as individuals having to pay that. We have other exemptions and stuff that are out there that we can clean up and try to fix this time. As far as going into the next session, or this current session, I believe what you're going to see is some tax reforms and stuff that we try to actually get into and clean up some of the just the structural changes of how we do rebates and so forth, if we get into that. I was, back up to the special session in just a second, I was kind of expecting, as being a chairman of transportation, that we would have some gas tax, or gasoline tax. But I think it was because the governor probably felt that having to vote on all the other different taxes, that the will of the legislature may not be there at the end to pass that, 8-10 cent gas tax. I saw the tax vote they started out where people, we had a large support in the House for raising taxes. Then they started dwindling off towards the end because people just started getting tired of voting for taxes. When you go back home, that's all you hear. I don't want to pay any more taxes. I don't, because what's happened, what I've seen over the years, we do raise the taxes and we ask the people to pay more, but we don't put it where it's supposed to go. We rob the transportation trust fund, give the state pay raises, etc. If we're going to ask the people with money to put into a trust fund for transportation or whatever it may be, it should be spent. Probably the biggest problem that I think we have with our government, the way it's structured in Baton Rouge right now, is that Constitution. Everybody has something in the Constitution that's constitutionally protected, whether it's nursing homes, hospitals, etc. So when you start to open up the Constitution to actually look at those things, make those changes, they, everybody starts screaming. But I have a bill this year to open up the Constitution so we can prioritize our spending and actually cut where we need to be cut, so it doesn't always fall in education and healthcare. That's, I'm running out of time, but that's my opinion. I'll take questions later, I guess.
I don't see John, so I guess we're not back on mic. All right, our next speaker is Dawn Starnes, and she represents business. She is the executive director of the National Federation of Independent Businesses. Dawn?
Thank y'all for having me. Can everybody hear me okay?
No.
No.
Loud.
Louder? Oh, okay. We get my good deep voice going. How's that? I get really excited when my pitch goes up. I'm Dawn Starnes. I've been this state director for NFIB for 3 years, 2.5 years I guess now, and been in politics for 18. So I've seen a lot over the course of this time in the Capitol, and I think everybody that's gone before me has talked to y'all covered all the bases on the taxes. I think everybody's got what went on and where it all went down. I will tell you that NFIB was part of a coalition that supported a different approach to the sales tax, where we would have front-loaded the tax at a higher level so that we wouldn't be where we are today, which is the fact that we have a deficit going into next year and we have to address it. And it cannot come from anywhere else overnight the way that it could come from a sales tax. And so we supported an effort to front load it, back it down, phase it out. And I think that hopefully the legislature will look at something like that when they have to come back to address the problems that we have. Other issues that plague the state from the perspective of outside of taxation, because I think we beat that horse to death, are a lot of important things to us and to small business owners across Louisiana, include the minimum wage increase that the governor has proposed. Our small business owners definitely oppose this increase. We don't feel like it's the right time. We're talking about taxes, we're talking about all the challenges in our state and all of the recession conversation that we're having, and then to go then and say, let's now put a new burden on the back of small business owners to increase wages artificially and create a new process in government. The state does not have its own minimum wage now. We follow what the federal government says the minimum wage is, and so we support that stay in place and not move forward with a minimum wage increase. We oppose things like equal pay. That'll be a big issue. We fight at the Capitol again this year, unfortunately. What we're trying to stop is frivolous lawsuits against small business owners. Our goal is to protect small business owners from lawsuits that will come back to them and put them out of business overnight. There are too many opportunities in the state now for frivolous lawsuits and for things that could go on in the courtroom very quickly. A $50,000 judgment could put a small business owner out of business overnight. And so our goal is to really protect the small business owners' ability and right to own and operate their business and truly do that without government involvement. So those are kind of some of the big issues for us. So we'll be watching this session as far as going into whatever might be a special session on additional taxes. We'll continue to oppose issues like the inventory tax credit repeal. It hurts our retailers, it hurts our manufacturers. Again, it's a regressive tax. We talked about all the regressive taxes that are out there, and we have several. And so there's a lot of that we are working with coalitions across the Capitol to try to bring resolution to and be involved with groups like the Sales Tax Streamlining Commission. We have been involved in that conversation to say, look, there are employee exemptions and things that need to be cleaned up, to Kenny's point, and to get the sales tax code in line, trying to figure out ways to fix that so that, again, we go back and don't fix the structural things we need to fix so that we don't come up in the problems that we're having today, again, in group organizations. So I think that's really all I have. I have some time left, but those are kind of our big areas, our big topics of interest and involvement. And we've been engaging with the new legislators and trying to educate them on the small business issues. And we also work very closely at the federal level, just to kind of take away from the state for a moment. We've been engaged in conversations at the federal level about, Medicaid expansion, about the new Supreme Court justice, and that's where I think FIB gets involved in a myriad of things that impact the business owner's bottom line and what keeps their doors open. And so sometimes that's philosophically one way or another, but at the end of the day, it's always about a business owner's right to go into business, be in business, and be productive, create jobs, and be out there and be a good member of society. And we want to do what we can to protect them. So, thank you.
Thank you, and now that, since we've done for business, now we're going to hear from labor. Our next speaker is Louis Wynn, who is president of the AFL-CIO.
Thank you, Gene, and good afternoon. I think y'all can hear me, huh? Oh, yeah. All right, but Gene, look, I work at the legislature, so I have no concept of time, so I don't know how that's going to work out. But I will share with you that the good news is the same as the bad news. As they told you, we started out, we were looking at a $900 million deficit. Good news, we raised $850 million. Bad news is we raised $850 million, we're still $50 to $70 million short. Same thing for next year's budget. We look at being $2 billion short. They raised approximately $1.2 billion. That's good news. Bad news is they raised 1.2 and they're still about $750 million short. But I do want to compliment the legislators. These were tough votes. When there's a sentiment out in the public, and we've seen 8 years of no taxes, to come in and raise the revenue necessary, were not easy votes, and I compliment you on coming in and realizing the problem and being willing to address it. One said sales tax, it is regressive. And somebody asked me, you're going to support a regressive tax? Yeah, well, I think it's more of an investment. Are people willing to invest in education and healthcare? Because where we were was going to be a disaster. And yeah, it affects lower income people. But I think they're willing to trade off at this point an opportunity for their children to get an education and an opportunity to have healthcare. And let me make clear, this healthcare issue is not just about poor people. When there's a healthcare crisis, everybody's going to suffer. If you don't believe that, look at the Baton Rouge General, who had to close the emergency room because it couldn't be compensated for care that they had to deliver. So if you're downtown and you have a heart attack, good luck getting down that lane. And that doesn't matter whether you're poor or you're rich. The healthcare is going to affect everybody, premiums that you pay in insurance. We looked at cleaning, they cleaned some pennies, cigarette tax 22 cents, alcohol 18, and I give them credit. Business is going to pay their share. Those sales taxes are going to be on business utilities, and that is going to be a price that they will pay, and they will step up and solve part of the problem. I will give the business community credit for that. Long term, we're going to have to look at the structure of taxes. They're absolutely right. When you look at a corporate income tax system that pays out $350 million more than it takes in, it's broken. If we had no corporate income tax, right now we would be $350 million better. If we did away with the tax, there would be no need for exemptions, there would be no need for rebates, and we would be $350 million. That's a system that needs to be tweaked. But I want to share two unique ideas with you that we need to think out of the box in the future. Number one is the way we look at the budget. State budget is $25 to $26 billion. More than half of it is federal dollars. If you cut them, you would send it back to Washington and you would lose the service. You wouldn't build a highway, you wouldn't provide health care with it. Most states don't even appropriate federal money. We're one of the states that does. Why don't we look at putting it in two instruments? This would be the federal money that's appropriated, and this would be the state money. Then we're having a conversation about what's available. Because you talk about cutting $1 million and $25 billion, that seems real easy. But not all of that money is available to cut from state revenue. So if we had two different instruments, we would be comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges. And ideally, what you would want to see is that the federal budget, the money you bring back home to Washington for services, would grow. Because if you don't get it, they don't reduce your taxes, they give it to another state. And then see the state budget, and that was the one that you would want to hold in check because that was the revenues you raised on the people within your own state. I want to share with you another unique idea. I propose that what we should have done is tax alcohol at 25 cents on a retail level. You go to dinner, you get 4 drinks, cost you $1. The DWI on the way home was going to cost you $10,000. Nobody's going to care. I represent a lot of folks who enjoy an alcoholic beverage. None of them said it was going to be a problem to pay 25 cents. Talked to a guy downtown on 4 bars. He said it would have been a whole lot easier. I'd raised my drink price to 25 cents. We raised 3/4 of a penny at a wholesale level. It raised $18.8 million. I was told by the regional distributor for one of the breweries, by the time that 3/4 of 1 cent gets to the retail, you're going to pay a quarter. Oh, let me make this quick. I should pull it with you. 25 cents on every alcoholic beverage would raise $500 million for the state of Louisiana by taxing alcohol that nobody would care about. And that's more than a penny. I got some more, but thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Louis, and you have your opportunity to add. Oh, thank you.
I wasn't selling.
The other thing is that what you've heard here is challenges, problems, challenges, problems, challenges, problems. I'm here to say, okay, we hit bottom. The only way is up. We should be looking at the next 2 sessions as opportunities to fix the system structurally. And so we don't keep revisiting this. So we're going to cure, we're going to start at the bottom, and let's get it right. One last thing. Happy St. Patrick's Day, and now we'll take questions. Anybody have a question?
I have a question. From the outside looking in, have term limits for legislators been a net positive or a net negative? I mean, do they not understand terms like one time in?
Did everybody get a question?
Yeah.
Okay, who wants to answer the question?
Doesn't matter, whoever wants it.
This is going to sound really silly, but when I was running for office, or before I was running, I thought term limits was probably the right way to go, so we could clean it. But I think you lose a lot of institutional knowledge from people that have been there for years. That can be a good thing or a bad thing. If you've got a really good, everybody seems to like their representatives, but they don't like the other. You know, that's kind of the way I looked at it. But it's when you lose some institutional knowledge, I think, and also the governor, the way Louisiana is structured, the governor has so much power, they can sit there and wait and squeeze you out, Probably one of the biggest hindrances to Louisiana is the way we do our capital outlay budget, where the governor has so much power as far as what money is appropriated in your district, and that's how I see you get bad votes. Yeah, so you either go one term, you that would fix a lot of it, or you just, or you go for it, keep like.
Question, would not one of the solutions to that problem be do away with the line veto?
No, probably so.
That way the governor can't
I don't know
impose
if
his will.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll ever happen, and I don't think, I guess you can do it with a constitutional amendment.
I would just like to add to that, I believe the term limits are a double-edged sword, but this is what I personally believe. I believe that term limits happen every time the people drive the road. They decide what they would like to have. And so I don't think that they're real necessary.
Term limits are an absolute disaster. You look at going into a session with a huge problem with a huge number of legislators who didn't know where the bathrooms were. You come in, learn the process, be able to participate, see how it works, and to have all of these new people simply because we have a rule that says once you learn your job and you become experienced at it, you got to go and be replaced with somebody else.
I'll say I'll call it the wild west now. And I'll just say, I like to call it the wild west now, the capital, because it's definitely not where it was, when I started 18 years ago. There was a different level of even professionalism that I have a big problem. I told the speaker this. I mean, you have legislators calling each other by their first name, and that's just not appropriate. I mean, there's a certain level of decorum and respect that comes with the office that some of the new folks, not just because they're new, but because they had several people who were elected who had never even been to the Capitol in their entire life. So, and then they show up to vote on your business. So yes, is it double-edged sword? Yes. Is it a complete mess? I agree with Lewis, definitely. I definitely agree there. So, anyway, yeah. Write a book about it.
One thing that I want to reinforce what Gina said, there is term limits at the ballot box at each election. And I'm just really curious, and even John Hankel told me before he died, I made a mistake on term limits. John and I went back and forth with that. But why is it that people who despise big government want big government to control how many terms the elected official gets to serve?
Someone who has perhaps 45 years of legislative experience, I tend to have a better memory than some of the executives, except for probably Lucas. One of the knuckleheads that gave us term limits was a white young legislator who just got beat for U.S. Senate. That was his right. And at that time, yes, they call each other by their name. Just it's not too formal, and it shouldn't be, because the formality really is just a campaign check. Now let's get down. I want to ask the gentleman from St. Francis, and I'm asking you genuinely and from the bottom of my heart. Do you think that it's appropriate with the problems that you have, all of you, that John Bell takes campaign contributions from many of the corporations and others that didn't support him before, but he's getting contributions from them now while we're in the middle of this mess? I'd like to see the government not take a dime from the Chemical Association, the independent folks, and anyone else. I think it compromises him and you guys. And I want to ask the gentleman that here. I sincerely want to agree. I know how the Democrats are acting. I want to agree.
Yeah. My answer is yes. I would hope that John Bell would not ever compromise his vote for a $5,000 check from the Louisiana Chemical Association. I can tell you personally, I voted against for some legislation a few years back, some education reform that I regretted. Tried to file some bills the year before and got some comments from a gentleman or some groups that had given me money. I immediately told them, wait there just a second. My truck is down there. I have a check and I'll bring it back to you. I don't sell my vote for $2,500. The only people that I worry about are the people back in my district. I could care less if you give me $2,500. I'll take $2,500 if you'd like to give it to me. It doesn't mean I'm gonna vote your way.
All
All of
I'm
it,
saying
but I will
is,
give you my ear.
send the wrong message to those of us that have to pay tax.
Okay?
I guess I had a question related to turbulence, and I guess I look at it as with any law, a law comes about because something wasn't going right. People aren't driving 55 miles an hour because a law said that's right. With turbulence, what was the issue? What was going wrong that said you need to put term limits in play? And maybe putting them in place didn't solve that issue, but we were just getting rid of it, spreading the issue back into the industry.
That's what, okay.
It's been around a while.
I think there was a perception that individuals get these jobs and they keep them for 4+ decades, when in fact I think only 2 lawmakers in the legislature right now have 4+ decades of experience, and one of them is the guy that practically every member of the legislature and the governor continuously turns you for advice. But I think there was this perception with Louisiana politics that folks were getting elected, they were holding these jobs for life, they were figuring out ways to work at angles, and I think if we got rid of term limits, I think there would be a return of more institutional knowledge to the process. But I think it would probably be a difficult vote to get back on the Constitution. I haven't seen a bill like that. Right here. Is there one? No. In terms of Governor Edwards and his donations from the chemical companies and the oil and gas industry, I absolutely think he should take them. Only because the law allows him to. I think the root of the problem is the campaign finance law. And I think there are more troubling things in campaign finance law other than what donations the governor is taking. Where they're coming from. I think there are bigger problems with the super PACs and the dark money that are really starting to work their way into statewide politics. For the first time ever last election season, we saw super PACs playing on the state side, statewide elections. They started to creep into the legislative elections, the vesting elections. But there's some planning with the political parties usually do, which is why you're seeing the Republican Party sue in court to be able to raise unlimited donations. And if you don't know, a super PAC is allowed to take unlimited donations. Forget about that $2,500 check. If someone wants to write a $25 million check, a super PAC can take one individual who influence how that money is spent. But term limits and campaign finance are certainly fascinating issues, and I wish they were being debated in this session.
I don't think term limits actually came and evolved to addressing problems. It became a political activity that people used as campaign slogans to embrace the discontentment with government in general. And as somebody said, everybody thinks their legislator ought to be able to stay as long as they want, but those other bums ought to be kicked out of office. And so it was more about politics than it was actually the structure of what happened in the legislature. Yeah, I think LWL ought to take the money. I raised him a lot more than $5,000 and he ain't got no problem telling me nothing. So I'm pretty sure he ain't gonna have no problem telling me nothing. But the deal is, if they don't give it to him, they may be giving it to somebody else. That's the system. Unfortunately, elections take money. I don't think people are buying a vote. You know, they changed the law and said you couldn't buy a legislator a stake for $50. I thought I'd been wasting all my time talking to those people when I could have bought them a $50 stake and got votes. But that's the system. You got to raise the money. Elections are expensive. Whoever's willing to give it to him, that's somebody else that gets it. I got but that's politics and that's the way it works. There's a lot of legislators who do not want to be tied with labor, but they'll gladly accept a check from us when they do.
I don't want to come home and die with class.
But they take your money, too.
Well, since you all have brought up the subject, the real problem is the campaign finance law. And until the will of the people says, we're going to shut this down, do you realize that in this presidential cycle, there are going to be billions spent for one cycle? Something's wrong. And until people are willing to demand the campaign finance house to change, it will be politics as usual. Next question. One more question? No. More questions there?
Sure. What would the alternative to the current
One thing, one of the things would be, because the Supreme Court has come out and said that you cannot limit someone to how much they can donate to a person, because that's limiting their freedom of speech. I disagree with that because you only have one vote. So, but that being the case where the Supreme Court came down, what we could do is limit how much a candidate could accept. Reverse it. And put it within the reach of every voter in the country.
Last year, at the last moment, there were a number of pay raises that were implemented. Obviously, they weren't financially sound. From the correspondence on the contract, we had a police officer in Monroe that went from $89,000 to $100-something thousand a year. We'll be talking about a real aggressive cost, particularly to the poorest. We'll be talking about the millions of dollars that people have gotten bills for insurance lapses. And I haven't seen a bill submitted that would allow somebody to do an affidavit that said the car wasn't being used or wasn't involved in an accident. Yeah. All of these picadillos for pay raises, like for Jay Darden, who will have a $10,000 per month raise when he retires. And so I'm wondering why those things haven't been addressed before we move to these other items.
I will address the letters that went out from DMV, and I don't think anybody realized when they created whatever they call this recovery deal, that if they send you 3 letters and you don't answer them, it becomes a final judgment, and even if you didn't owe the money, now you have to pay it to keep your driver's license. There are several bills in there to address that. The pay raises, there are several bills that says after an election and between election and inauguration that state government will not be allowed to give pay raises. As much as I wanted state employees to get a pay raise, to give them 2 weeks before you leave office and tell the next governor with a $900 million deficit, you will figure out how to pay for it, not right. But we agree with you.
You pretty much hit the points I wanted to talk about as well. I think what you were talking about was the state trooper's pay raise last year. It was tied to those fines.
That was one example, but that's extremely regressive.
Absolutely. It was, and it was a terrible way to do business. I don't think they should have done it. I didn't support it or vote for it at the end. I think it maybe 6 or 7 people didn't vote for that particular amendment. It was actually done before the amendment onto a bill. But there are some bills that are coming through this year to try to straighten some of that out. As Chairman of Transportation, I've seen some of those fall already. But you're not going to be able to get that money back. You cannot, because of the way the civil service is set up, go in and change those, or take away those raises that was worth about $25 million the general did right before you left office. You can't do that.
Why can't you?
Because of the way the civil service rules are set up. And
You change the rule.
They can. Yes. No, I'm thinking that there may be a way, and you can tell me, if we do not appropriate the money, that's the appropriations committee. If they don't appropriate those funds, then it'll be done.
The employees who got a raise who are in the civil service are protected by the Constitution. The state troopers are not civil service employees, and therefore their raises are not protected. I tell you, nobody under civil service making the kind of money that those state troopers, and I don't begrudge them the money, but to have it. And the other thing is, I don't know that anybody accounted for the huge increase in the pension costs for those state troopers who got the raise.
And I want to go back to DMV. I want to say this. We have an opportunity to file up to 5 additional bills. And so one of the bills, I do plan on filing a bill to address some of the issues with DMV. But I want to see what was already filed, to see what else needs to be added, because we did not. I know I did not, which I had a lot of questions even when we came to committee about how that over collection and all that would work. But we did not anticipate what we see now. So we're going to try to address that. So if anybody has any ideas, we welcome them. And we have until April 9th, I think April 9th or April 8th or something along that line, to actually file the 5 additional bills.
Just to answer your question as to why. As to answer your question as to why that wasn't addressed immediately or hasn't been addressed, I don't think any lawmaker in their right mind would take money away from the state troop or the State Troopers Association. As to why it wasn't addressed before looking at some of these tax increases, I think when you're sitting in the hole and looking at a collective $2.9 billion budget shortfall, looking at something like that, even if it is a lot of money, I mean, you almost kind of nickel and dime the issue. That's why they went after the sales tax. The sales tax is a quick, easy, dirty way to make a lot of money in a quick amount of time.
No.
Joe, you have a question? Yep. You got a question? Come on.
Very, very proud as Louisiana.
Speak up, sir.
So I'm very, very proud as a Louisiana. It's been a while since I've been that proud as I am proud today. Because Democrats and Republicans, whites and blacks in Louisiana, saw through the madness and elected John Bel. They did. And they saw, the creator of all the madness, to some extent being in general the creator, that people saw through it. I think that what's going on nationwide and why people are either in the Sanders camp or the Trump camp is that upswelling again of people not wanting to hear any more BS from the people who said what they can't. We all have to work harder, but John Bell goes and give it to you. Didn't get a dime, did it for free. 40 years with him. 40 years with him.
House convenes at 1 o'clock, so please, quick.
You're tired of BS. If you don't think so, wait for the next election.
Joe, I think you're absolutely right that Sanders and Trump are an illustration of the frustration of the general public, particularly with the federal government and with the impasse that nothing gets done, that we're going to worry more about party affiliation than we're going to worry about the people we serve. Other than a small group in the Louisiana legislature, I will give credit to the legislature that a huge majority of them put party issues aside and stepped up to the plate to address the issues of the people of the state of Louisiana. And that is the prime example. When Congress figures out how to do that, then the whole country will be in better shape.
I want to add to that I work very well with this gentleman to my left. When I served in the House for more than 2 years, and when we came in, he had always been a liberal individual, as I conclude myself to be as well. And that's what my theory is, as it relates to how we go forward. I am beginning to see more partisanship than ever before. And I'm hoping that we don't get there, and I hope collectively, he and I, as we go back into our respective groups, continue to say the same message, so that we don't get there. But let me say this. This room to me should be filled. I really wish there were more people who were actually out and being advocates for their own rights and for what they believe. I hope people do get fed up and sick and tired of being sick and tired of the same old same old. And that they reflect that when they go and vote. I really do, because that's when we would definitely have better government. But at the same time, we have rights, we have responsibilities. The citizens have responsibilities to be engaged and to be involved. And so I'm encouraging them to be engaged and to be involved. To call their legislators. When I served, when we had the big issue regarding education, I never forget that some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle told me that no one never called their office. They never got a call, they never got a complaint about what was happening. And so, a lot of people expect that we know certain things. There are some things that you just don't know, and when you're receiving information from one group, and I'm not saying anything in terms of those individuals to lobby us, but if you're just receiving information from one group, then that may be your only perspective. It is our responsibility to actually make sure that we are engaged in the process. And so I really encourage that. I hope that people are. I really do.
Thank you. On that note, I'm going to add one little footnote, and that is, even if your legislator, local, state, national, you think you're on one side of the issue, call and tell them what you want. That's what people start saying, well, they're not going to listen to me, so I'm not going to call. They will never listen to you if you don't talk. So speak up, be heard, join Leaders with Vision, and happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Thank you very much.